The last thing my mother said to me was, "Don't follow them, John. They don't serve the God I serve." But I didn't listen. And now, I'm standing in the middle of a shrine, holding my own mother's head, in a nylon bag. How did I get here? Let me tell you how. My name is John. I was born and raised in a forgotten corner of Nigeria, a tiny village where life moved slowly, and hope was something you carried in your pocket like a stone, just to remember it still existed. We were poor. Not just no money poor. I'm talking about real poverty. Rain falling through the zinc roof. No electricity for weeks. We ate what was available, not what we wanted. Sometimes there was nothing. And yet, we lived. I lived with my mother. Just her and me. My father left before I was old enough to remember his face. Mama never spoke of him. All I knew was that he left her with nothing, except a baby in her womb and a heart full of faith. My mother was a woman of God. I don't say that lightly. I mean, this woman could pray in the middle of a storm, with an empty stomach, and still shout, "Jehovah is good." Every morning, before the sun touched the trees, I'd hear her. On her knees. Hands lifted. Eyes closed. "God, bless my son. Provide for him. Protect him. Let him never fall into the hands of wicked people." Her voice was always shaky. Tired. But faithful. After prayers, she would look at me with her dry eyes and say, "John, listen to me. No matter what happens in this life, don't ever follow bad friends. Don't chase quick money. The God I serve will bless you. Just be patient, my son." She always said, "Patience is better than sacrifice." But I was tired. Tired of watching her suffer. Tired of seeing her come home from the farm, back bent, fingers bleeding, just to make us 2 plates of gari and bitter leaf soup. And when I looked around, I saw boys, my age, wearing designer shoes, snapping photos with iPhones, living large in the city. They had money, power, girls. They didn't look patient. They looked blessed. So I told my mother one morning, "Mama, I'm leaving for Lagos. I can't stay here and die poor." She turned slowly from the pot she was stirring and stared at me. Her voice shook when she said, "You want to go to Lagos?" "Yes." "To do what?" "To make it." She dropped the spoon, walked over, held my face in her calloused hands. "Lagos is not for boys like you. It's a battlefield. And not everyone returns from it whole." I pulled away. I was determined. That night, she packed dry gari in a plastic container and gave me her last 3,000 Nigerian nairas. She tied my old clothes in a black nylon bag and prayed over them. Then, with tears in her voice, she said, "Don't forget the God I serve. If you ever reach a point where everything feels like it's falling apart, remember me, and remember this: it's better to be poor and alive than rich and damned." I hugged her. But my heart had already left. I boarded a bus the next morning, dusty, noisy, and packed full of dreamers like me. And just like that, I left the only person who ever truly loved me behind. Lagos. 3 days later. I arrived in the city thinking I'd find opportunities. Instead, I found hell. No one wanted to help a village boy. No job. No family. No food. No place to sleep. I begged. I hustled. I starved. When night came, I curled up in an uncompleted building. Concrete floor. No doors. No windows. Mosquitoes. Cold. I cried. I remembered Mama's prayers. But pride wouldn't let me go back home. I told myself, just one breakthrough, and I'll change our lives forever. Then one morning, a red Lexus Jeep slowed down beside the building. The glass rolled down, and I saw him. Gold chain. Clean beard. Designer shades. "Young man," he said, "you want to make money?" My heart skipped. I said, "Yes, sir." He smiled. "Then follow me." I thought God had finally remembered me. I was wrong. So very wrong. When we finally reached Jeff's mansion, my mouth hung open like a village gate in Harmattan breeze. I'd never seen anything like it in my life. The gate alone looked like something from a royal palace. Tall, black, and embossed with gold lions. Real gold, not that Abuja gold we see on Instagram. As we entered, I swear I could feel the compound floor breathing money. The entire driveway was paved with marble, and there was a fountain in the middle. Yes, a real water fountain, gushing water as if to remind you that poverty is truly a curse. "John," Jeff said, noticing how I couldn't stop staring. "This is your new home now. Feel free. Feel free. In this place." The house itself was massive. The ceiling could swallow my entire family's compound. A chandelier hung like a golden sun right in the center of the living room, glittering with crystals. And the chairs? My God. I kid you not, they were made of pure gold. Gold frames with red velvet cushions. Just sitting on it made me feel like I had committed a sin back in my village by being born poor. I didn't even know how to sit. I kept adjusting, sitting, standing, then sitting again. Jeff just laughed. "Relax, man," he said. "You're not dreaming." But that's exactly how it felt. Like a dream. A dangerous one. A tall woman came out of the inner room, fair, slim waist, spotless skin like she bathed in milk daily. "Give my guy something to eat," Jeff told her. "Make it special." She nodded and left without a word. That alone sent a strange shiver down my spine. Something about her didn't sit right with me. But hunger slapped my conscience back to reality. The food came fast: goat meat pepper soup, jollof rice that smelled like it was cooked in heaven, and a bottle of Hennessy to wash it down. I was eating and sipping like a big boy, but I noticed something. Jeff and his friends weren't eating. They were watching me, smiling, whispering among themselves. That should have been my first warning. But I ignored it. In the evening, Jeff came down the stairs, smelling of Dior and Sin, holding a bunch of car keys like a bouquet. "Omo John, tonight we go flex," he said. Flex. I'd only heard that word in songs. That was the first time I truly experienced it. His friends, 4 of them, were already waiting outside. Tall, muscular guys, bearded and polished like politicians' sons. I felt underdressed in my old shirt, but Jeff tossed me a new designer outfit, Versace shirt, black jeans, and even a gold chain. I wore everything like my life depended on it. Maybe it did. We hopped into 2 black Jeeps, he gave me the front seat, and drove off with speed and silence. No one spoke. Just music and rich boy aura. The kind that tells the world, we don't talk, we show. We arrived at a club in Lekki Phase 1. Not just any club, this one looked like it was carved out of Dubai. The moment we entered, lights hit our faces, and girls started screaming Jeff's name like he was Davido. He walked in like he owned the building. And maybe he did. "Pick anyone you like," Jeff whispered to me. "Tonight is your night." I tried to act calm, but my hands were shaking. "Me? Pick from girls like these." Girls with hips like magic, waist like a question mark, and perfume that could make a man forget his name? Still, I tried. One came to sit on my lap, whispering things that made my ears feel hot. Another kissed my cheek and called me baby. It was too much. It was like the devil had sent his finest agents to tempt me. I looked at Jeff, hoping he'd pull me out, but he was too busy. 2 girls on his lap, cigar in his mouth, laughing like a man who had sold his soul long ago. And just then, as I raised the glass of Hennessy to my lips again, I asked myself, is this really me? Or is this just the beginning of something I'm not ready for? Because deep down, something didn't feel right. I smiled on the outside, but my soul was slowly shaking. I thought I was winning. But I had no idea that this was only the beginning. I sat quietly on the edge of the golden couch, still trying to process the luxury I'd been exposed to. That night after the party, when we got back from the club, our shirts half open, our pockets filled with girls' numbers, and the air thick with smoke and pride, Jeff turned to me. We were alone in his private lounge. Just me and him. He poured a drink, handed me a glass, and sat across from me with that same devil-may-care smile on his face. Then his tone changed, low, serious, firm. "John," he said, "do you have the heart to make money?" I blinked. "What do you mean?" He leaned forward. "In this life," he said slowly, "you either have the heart to make money, or you die of poverty. There's no in-between. Money doesn't come by prayer alone. It comes by decisions. Ruthless decisions. Something about the way he said it made my stomach tighten. I thought of Mama. How she always prayed, how she fasted, how she struggled to put food on our table. But I was tired. Tired of struggling. Tired of being the poor boy everyone ignored. I have the heart, I said, nodding slowly. I want to make money, Jeff. Real money. I want to put a smile on my mother's face. I want to build her a house. I'm ready for anything. He looked at me for a long second, then smiled and stood up. Good, he said. Then your life is about to change. Without another word, he made a call, and minutes later, Jag, his right-hand man, pulled up in a black SUV. We drove out of the city, past the lights, past the laughter, into the belly of silence. I remember asking, "Where are we going?" "To where destinies are changed," Jeff said, his eyes cold. "To meet the one who gives wealth." The rest of the ride was silent. I could hear my heartbeat thumping like a war drum. We turned into a narrow dirt road, hidden by thick bushes. Then we arrived. A shrine. It was quiet. Too quiet. Torches lit the path. Strange symbols were painted on the walls. And in the center of the compound sat an old man, half naked, with cowries hanging from his neck and white chalk on his face. His eyes found mine like he already knew me. "Come," he said, his voice cracking like dried leaves. "You have come for wealth, haven't you?" I nodded, unable to speak. "You want to wear gold? Drive big cars? Be called Oga?" I nodded again. He chuckled darkly. Then his face went stone cold. "Then you must pay. Nothing goes for nothing." I swallowed hard. What do I have to do?" He rose slowly, walked to a pot, and stirred it. Smoke rose and danced in the air. Then he turned to me and said the words that shattered my soul. "Bring the head of your mother." The world froze. My ears buzzed. My chest tightened. I thought I didn't hear him well. What did you say?" "Your mother. The one who gave you life. Her head. That is the price. If you truly want to be rich, bring her head before the next moon." I turned to Jeff, thinking it was a joke. But he wasn't smiling. He looked away. "It's the same price I paid," he said quietly. I stared at him. This man killed his own mother? My legs felt weak. My stomach turned. "You said I needed to have the heart," I whispered. "Yes," the native doctor replied. "The heart to let go of anything that holds you back. Poverty is a curse that lives in bloodlines. Kill it from the root." I looked at the sky, but the stars were gone. My heart was loud in my ears. That night, I lay in the guest room of Jeff's mansion, staring at the ceiling, haunted. I could still hear my mother's prayers in my head. Her voice singing hymns in the early morning. Her hands washing my clothes. Her tears when I left. Now they wanted her head? And the worst part, a small, evil voice inside me whispered, "What if you actually do it?" I couldn't sleep that night. The air in Jeff's mansion was cold, too cold. But it wasn't the air conditioner. It was something else. Something darker. The native doctor's voice kept echoing in my head. "Bring the head of your mother." I turned on the bed, covered my ears, even tried playing loud music, but nothing worked. Her face kept appearing. My mother. Her smile. Her calloused hands. Her prayers. I sat up, confused, broken, angry. Was this the price of wealth? I stepped out to the balcony, hoping the night breeze would calm me. But instead, I found Jeff already there, shirtless, smoking, staring into nothing. He didn't even look at me when he spoke. "You can't sleep either." I shook my head. "How did you do it?" He exhaled smoke. "I didn't think about it. I just did it." I stared at him, my eyes wide. "You really killed her?" "She was suffering," he said, still not looking at me. "Living in a mud house. Sick. Poor. She prayed every day for God to help me. I did what I had to do. Now, I've helped our bloodline. No more poverty. Isn't that what mothers want?" I didn't respond. Because deep down, I was scared of how much that made sense. Wasn't that what Mama wanted too? For me to succeed? But did it have to be like this? Jeff turned to me and said something I'll never forget. John, this is the moment every man faces. The point where you choose. Do you want to be like your father, dead and forgotten, or do you want to be the man they write about in newspapers? This is your test. I went back inside, but my mind was at war. All I could think of was Mama. The sacrifices she made for me. The days she starved so I could eat. The nights she prayed over me while I slept. And now, I was supposed to slit her throat? 4 cars. 4 houses. But then, another voice whispered, "She's already suffering. You could end that. You could build schools in her name. You could make her proud, even in death." I hated myself for even considering it. That morning, I packed my bag and told Jeff I was going home to think. He didn't try to stop me. "Think well," he said, handing me a brown envelope. "That's 2 million naira. Use it to prepare. But remember, you have only 7 days to bring her head. After that, the portal closes." The ride back home felt like a funeral. When I got to the village, Mama ran out to hug me. Tears filled her eyes. She held me tight, thanking God for bringing her son back. She didn't ask where I got the money. She just cooked for me, prayed for me, smiled at me with pride. And every time I looked at her, I saw a countdown in my head. 7 days. 6. 5. Each day, I woke up and stared at the cutlass under my bed. I couldn't eat. I couldn't sleep. I watched her sleep, her chest rising and falling, so peaceful, so trusting. Then one night, I stood beside her with the cutlass in my hand. My hands were shaking. My heart was racing. She stirred in her sleep. "John, is everything okay?" I froze. I couldn't speak. My mouth was dry.